Welcome to The Explainer. You ever been on a project that had all this amazing potential, but then it just kind of fell flat? Well, today we're digging into the two foundational pillars of information you have to get right from the very start. These are the things that make or break a project's success. Let's get into it.
It's a question we've all asked ourselves, right? You've got a great idea, a sharp team, but somewhere along the line, things just go off the rails. But what if the real problem isn't in the doing, but way back in the planning? What if a critical piece was missing before a single task was even started?
And there it is. That's our answer right there. It's often not about a lack of passion or skill. It's about a lack of the right information. This quote just nails it. Projects are often doomed from the start because nobody took the time to gather the essential data before diving in. It's like trying to navigate without a map. I mean, think about it like building a house. You wouldn't just show up with a pile of bricks and start stacking them, would you? Of course not. You need a detailed architectural blueprint. That blueprint, for us, is the project design phase. And, a blueprint is only as good as the information it's based on. Okay, so what kind of information are we talking about here? It really all comes down to two major categories, two main pillars that hold up the entire structure of your project: technical specifications and organizational specifications. Let's break down exactly what that means. So let's start with our first pillar, technical specifications. The easiest way to think about this is looking outward. It's all about understanding the world your project is about to step into, the what and the where. First up, you have to get the lay of the land. And I'm not just talking about the geography. We're talking about the human element, the social dynamics, the political climate, the cultural context. You have to understand this entire ecosystem your project needs to survive and thrive in. Once you've got that deep environmental understanding, then you can start building your strategy. This is where you get super clear on who you're actually trying to help. Who are your target groups? What kind of technology is out there that you can actually use? And, this is a big one, does your project even make sense with the bigger picture goals of the region or the country? All right, now for pillar number 2. This is where we shift our focus from looking outward to looking inward. This is all about the who and the how. Your team, your resources, and your actual ability to pull this thing off. So here, you're doing a real honest assessment of your own organization. Do you have the administrative muscle to manage the project? What about your people? What are their skills and where are the gaps? What kind of support systems do you have in place? This is basically your internal inventory check. And this pillar also gets into the nitty-gritty of execution. What do you need from other teams or even outside organizations? How are you going to make sure everyone is talking to each other and working together? And now listen to this last one because it's key. How are you going to assess and monitor your progress? This is where you lay out the game plan, and that one little question is the linchpin for everything that follows. So we've got our two pillars, right? Technical and organizational. But they aren't just a simple checklist you run through and forget. No, they're connected to the entire life of your project through one absolutely critical mandate, a rule that you just can't ignore if you want to succeed. And here it is. This is the whole ballgame. The single most important takeaway is that any plan for monitoring and evaluating your project's success has to be baked in from the very beginning, right in the design phase. It cannot be an afterthought. Because think about it. If you don't define what success looks like from the start, how will you ever know if you got there? It's like getting in a car for a road trip without ever deciding on a destination. You're just driving. So what does this actually look like in practice? It means you take 3 very specific steps at the outset. First, you collect baseline data. This is your before picture. Without it, you have no way to prove you actually made an impact. Second, you establish your monitoring criteria. These are your check-ins, your signposts along the journey that tell you if you're still on the right path. And finally, you plan for that final evaluation on day 1. You decide exactly how you're going to measure your ultimate success long before you're even close to finishing. Honestly, skipping these steps is probably the biggest unforced error you can make in project management. So as you get ready to tackle your next big project, here's the question you really need to ask yourself. Is the foundation you're building on solid rock, built on these 2 pillars of real information, or is it built on the shifting sands of just assuming things will work out? Because as we've just seen, that choice is what will ultimately define whether you succeed or fail.